What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. Today is an exciting one because we're finally getting a baseline to see how much power this Civic makes before I take the engine out of it and swap it with my other one. So I'm on my way to throw my car on a dyno. I'm going to TuningByNick. He's gonna check out the car, he's gonna tell me what he thinks of this thing, and we're gonna see how much power it makes stock and how much power it makes with a tune. So after I do the engine swap into the Civic, I'm gonna be obviously making more power, and I'm obviously gonna need a different tune with it because I'm changing countless hardware parts. So with that being said, we're gonna get a baseline today to see what it makes, and then I'll be able to compare this to later and see how much more power it's going to make. Any ideas? So the Civic is strapped up on the dyno and it's pretty much ready to go. So I'm here with Nick from TuningByNick, and we're gonna pretty much get a good baseline as to see how much power the car makes.
So yeah, thanks for coming by. I'm glad you were able to stop by. We've been trying to plan this for a little while, but I am happy to have your car on the dyno. I'm very curious to see what it's gonna make. I've yet to actually have a 9th gen Civic that's all stock on the dyno. To see, I tuned a lot of these cars, but I'm curious to see what a stock one's gonna make. I know this is not completely stock, right?
There's some mods on it. So it's got a muffler delete, it has 17-inch wheels, so it's a little bit smaller and 16% lighter than the stock 18s, but short from that, there's no other mods on it.
Cool. And you have a KTuner, so if we need to, we can play around with it a bit, but today we're just gonna try to figure out how much power it makes stock, so we have a good baseline pull and some data to see what we're gonna make all said and done with what you have planned for this engine. So
yeah,
should be cool.
I'm pumped.
Excellent.
Let's get started.
Yeah.
Just getting ready to do the first pull. We're waiting for it to get to about 175 degrees. That way it's fully warm, we can do our pull, and we'll see what it makes.
So I'm gonna put it in 4th gear. Just bring it up to speed. 4th gear. And here we go.
So we finished up the 3 pulls, and Nick and I are just gonna go over the footage right here, and he's gonna tell us, well, pretty much what these 3 graphs did.
Yeah, so we did the 3 pulls. This is with the factory settings. This is with KTuner loaded up, but their factory flash, which is pretty much stock. And what we have is the 3 pulls. The first pull was the best. We ended up making 184 horsepower and 164 foot-pounds torque. These results are actually a really good example of the intricacies of tuning these 9th gen cars. The ECU is very sensitive to knock, so it's a balancing act of keeping the knock sensor happy and getting you, the customer, the best results so that you don't lose this power. So if you'll notice this blue line, the power dips down a lot, and the reason for this is the knock sensor thinks it's detecting knock and it's pulling a whole bunch of timing, and that's why we see these the loss of power in the upper range and this mid-range.
So we're gonna put a new tune on the car right now. This is using KTuner's stock software. We're not really gonna be changing much after we switch it from the factory tune to tune 1. So this is a preloaded kit that's installed, or an option, when you guys buy one of these KTuner units. So without changing any of the actual parameters for the fueling or advancing the actual ignition, all I'm gonna be changing here is just like the standard stuff that I've shown you guys how to do in other videos. So like VTEC, we're only gonna make it so that it engages when it's warm. The red line, we're gonna change the same. The injectors are the same size as stock, so we're not touching that. Idle target, we're gonna leave for now. The throttle overrun, so basically whenever you change gears, how much lag there is between the fuel turning back on, and that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna upload this to the car, and we're gonna go from there. So after that second set of pulls with the aftermarket tune from KTuner on it, it did make a little bit more power. How much do you think? Wait, I'll give you a second. Okay, well, now let me show you.
All right, so we ended up doing actually 6 pulls total with the car. We did 3 pulls with what KTuner calls their stock flash and 3 pulls with their Tune 1 flash. What I have up here is like the best of the 3 pulls, and in both cases it was the first pull of the 3. What we ended up with was, with the stock flash putting down 189 horse and 164 torque, the KTuner Tune 1 flash put down 189 and 166. And the interesting part about the KTuner flash is it actually cleaned up the tune a lot. It smoothed out the graph, smoothed out the power delivery, except for VTEC engagement. I suspect that this little blip from VTEC engagement is just because VTEC is set a little too low for the mods that are on this car, or I should say the lack of mods, right? Considering it's basically all stock. If we raise VTEC to about 5200, it would most likely take care of this little blip in power. So yeah, I think this is a great starting point. We have some good data, so we know where we're starting with this car. It seems healthy considering that it's basically all stock and it's put down almost 190 horsepower. And once you're all done with all your mods and we bring it back for tuning, we'll have a good comparison of what you started with and where you ended up.
All right, guys, so I'm actually pumped about this because I haven't ever done a baseline on any of my cars. I've kind of just gone full send and started modding it right from the get-go. So that is our baseline. This is done with Nick from TuningByNick, and he's got some pretty interesting builds himself. We got talking a little bit, and he's got a K24 Z7 swapped Porsche 911 997 build that he's doing. He's also working on his K24 swapped all-wheel drive Acura RSX Type S, and both of those builds are featured on his YouTube channel. So he's got a channel that he's getting going right now. If you guys want to check it out, you guys can find his handle down in the description box of this video. The best way to contact him if you guys ever want to tune your car, just like me today, is you guys can reach him out to him by either emailing him, you can hit him up on Instagram, or if you guys find his YouTube channel, you can hit him up there too. Yeah. Time to bring this home and time to rip this thing apart. If you guys have any further questions about the video, comment section's down there. You guys know what to do. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.